Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param. Om. As we are studying the 8th chapter of the Bhagwad Gita and also simultaneously studying the I've got a problem with my slide. Are you able to see my slide?
Yes, sir.
Disappeared. One moment. Yeah, as we are studying the 8th chapter of the Gita and simultaneously studying the Bhajagovindam, we will reflect on aspects of the death and the dying and the solution given to us by the Bhajagovindam. We have heard this already, that a little study of the Bhagavad Gita, you don't have to be a great scholar of all the Vedanta, but the Bhagavad Gita alone is enough to find a solution for the whole problem of death and the dying has always been a mystery. And the Bhagavad Gita helps us to live well. The Bhagavad Gita also helps us to die gracefully. Why are we afraid to die? In the last class, we discussed about that death is something of the unknown. But we said that life and death are integral parts of each other. That means there must be a third factor. And what is that third factor we discovered? The third factor we discovered was the ego. The ego is afraid to live. The ego is afraid to die. And therefore, one of the spiritual sadhanas is to work on the ego. And only when you work on the ego, we'll be able to remove the fear of the unknown. There is another important thing why we are not ready to die is that we have not yet lived our life fully. I have still so much to do. And when you are feeling that you have not lived life fully, that is when we feel we are not yet ready to die. For a few minutes now, until the classes start today, I will touch on how, if you can live life moment to moment and fully, that is the only way to be ready to die. The third aspect, which I will touch on the end of the talk, is there is a feeling that there are others dependent on me. I'm not afraid to die, but I need to live for the sake of the others. The topic now is, I have not lived my life fully. This is a question that I have. Is it happy people who are grateful, or is it grateful people who are happy? And the answer very clearly is, whenever you are grateful, you are happy. The next question is, what is a gift? And a gift is something that we value, and a gift is something that has been given to us freely. One question I want you to ponder is, what is that gift all of us have, which is one of the most valuable things and which is there at this moment? And on analysis, you will find the greatest gift that we have all the time is the gift of this moment. Can we do a short open eye meditation to experience the gift of this moment? What do you mean by living this moment? Living this moment with all your 5 senses, to be able to appreciate the world around, to be able to feel the gift of the sound, the touch, the taste, the smell, to live life so fully, moment to moment. Why am I not ready to live this moment? Simply because my mind brings in the past. It may be a regret of the past, or my mind brings in certain anxieties of the future. The question we always need to ask is, am I living in real time 100%, or am I living in psychological time? And I'm not really living life because I am more often, my mind takes me to the past or to the future. The only way to live life fully is that I can have a total acceptance of this moment. Last week, in the topic of practical Vedanta, I said all of us have to go through a certain prarabdha which we cannot alter. A prarabdha may be pleasant, it may be unpleasant. The problem comes whenever there is an unpleasant prarabdha, we go to God and give him advice as to how best my day should be. But if I am a true upasaka, if I am able to trust what is good for me that God is going to give, the best way to live life fully is to be able to accept this moment 100%. Ask your question, which are those happy moments? All your happy moments are those moments when you are being able to accept life totally. And therefore, the final answer is, how can I live my life 100% this moment? What is the greatest gift that we have from the study of the Upanishads? The greatest gift is, I'm not this body, I am the embodied who is using this body. There is something within me which is of great value. And what is that? When you realize that I am that Atma Tattva, then it does not matter whether you are in yoga or you are in boga, whether you are alone or you are with other people. Yasye Brahmani Ramate Chittam. That means when my mind is reveling on the thought that I am Brahman, Nandati, Nandati, Nandat Eva. Now, these are the great thoughts that our scriptures tell, to be able to revel in our lives 100%. And the moment then, when death comes, we have no sense of regret that I have not lived my life fully. With that, we go to the opening verse today. Rekha, it is your time.
Hari Om, sir. Hari Om, everybody. Mam upateya punarjanma dukhalaya ashashwatam na anu apnuvanti mahatmanah samsiddhim paramam gatah. This is Krishna starts talking fresh about something new. But before this, I'll just give a quick recap. In chapter 7, last verses, Krishna says that those who take refuge in me gain the comprehension of Brahman, Adhyatma, Karma, Adi, and they understand that I am the principle behind Adi Bhuta, Adi Daiva, and Adi Yagnya. And they also remember me at the end of at the deathbed. So these are 7 terms he brings about, and then in the 8th chapter, in the beginning, Arjuna asks him in detail about these terms, and Krishna gives from in the 3rd and 4th verse, he gives them the first six explanation of the first 6 terms, and then he goes on to tell that that the person who is this person is going to be a nishkama saguna ishvara upasaka, and that person will remember the Lord in the saguna form, that is in alambanam, either pratika or pratima, either in this in the idol form, or in om form, or in saligram. And so this person will be meditating on the Lord Ishvara for his entire life, and that's why at the time of death also he will remember, and that's he will go to the Brahma Loka and get Krama Mukti. So that is what Krishna says, and in this verse he says that those who who attain me, Mam Upataya, will those are great souls, Mahatmanaha. They do not take rebirth. They don't go through the they don't go through rebirth, because and it is this rebirth is, this birth and death is a cycle of sorrow, and it's a abode of sorrow, and it's transient. And because they will have attained the highest, that is the Brahma, at Brahma Loka, they will get knowledge from Lord Brahma and attain Krama Mukti. Again, these verses, the entire 8th chapter is about Ajnani, the one who has knowledge that who is God, but he doesn't know that I am that, and he doesn't know Tattvamasi, and there may be many reasons, because he doesn't have the subtle intellect, or he may not have got the right guru, and that's why he prays on the Saguna Ishvara, and his nishkam, all his activities are towards the Lord. He doesn't do for selfish reasons. And so Swamiji says that there are 2 goals. One is the world, and the other one is the God. And this nishkama, the one who attains me, this he's telling to Arjuna that the one who takes me as the goal will achieve Krama Mukti. But the one who doesn't, Swamiji talks about him also, that he will go after the material goods, and the material finite goods go up to the lokas. Till this, all the 7 lokas are also included in that, and they always have 3 issues with them. That is the Dukha Mishra Tattva. That is, they, while gaining them also there is pain and anxiousness and misery, and while for preservation of them also, these material goals, there is pain, and then loss of them also causes pain. Again, these finite goals, they have a triptri kartatvam. That is, they never are totally satisfying. We always want more and more and more. We are never satisfied with what we have. And then they cause bandha tattvam. That is, we become enslaved to it. We are enslaved to the bed, we are enslaved to the fridge, we are enslaved to our houses, we are enslaved to our family, we are enslaved to our friends, we are enslaved to this world. And even if we are enslaved to the heavens. So that also is finite. So he says that come unto me and I will take care of all. Again, there's an underlying thing that if he takes the goal of God, God will take care of your yoga shema. He'll take care of both. He'll take care of all your other material finite goals also. And these again, these he's called them Mahatmas. Mahatmas are Nishkama, Saguna, Ishra, Upasakas. That's what the word Mahatma means in this. Thank you.
Thanks, Nita. Complete explanation of this verse. Go to Vani. Vani, it is your time.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. This is the 8th chapter, 16th verse. Brahma Bhuvana Lokaha Punaravartinorjuna Mamupetyatu Kaunteya Punarjanmana Vidyate. As Nita explained in the previous verse, Lord Krishna made it very clear that one who gains self-knowledge and recognizes the oneness has no rebirth. The same idea is presented in this verse also, giving the examples of lokas. So here, let me first tell you the word meaning. Brahma Bhuvana Lokaha means all the worlds of the lokas, including the Brahma Loka. Punara Vartinaha, or subject to return. So is, however, Mamupetya, having reached me, Kaunteya, son of Kunti, Punarjanmana Vidyate. Rebirth is not there. So here the meaning is, O Arjuna, in all the lokas of this creation, including the Brahma Loka, are subject to return. However, attaining me, or after attaining me or reach me, O son of Kunti, there is no rebirth. This is the meaning of the word. Let me explain it. So Vedas talk about different lokas. The higher lokas are the Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and the Brahma Loka. So here Sri Krishna is making a point that one goes to different lokas as per one's karma. In each higher lokas, the pleasures are higher, the security is better, finer, and the highest is the Brahma Loka. But the stay in any of these lokas is not permanent. It is only temporary. All the lokas exist in time and space. You have to travel to reach them. The word travel itself indicates that it is not available here in this Bhuloka. Even when one travels to Brahma Loka, he has to return. In fact, Brahmaji who is there is also not permanent. It is a post like the Prime Minister or the President. After enjoying that post for some time, he has to return back. Everything is ephemeral. Stay in any of these lokas is not permanent. It is temporary. Travel to any of these lokas by the Sukshma Sharira is like a foreign trip. As long as we have the currency and the visa, we can stay and enjoy. But once that is over, we have to come back to our own home. Similarly, the Sukshma Sharira travels to the lokas depending on the currency of Punya. So once the Punya is over, the Sukshma Sharira has to get a new body as per the Prarabdha Karma and is born on the earth. In the 9th chapter, 21st verse also, Krishna explains this Chine Punye Martyalokam Vishanti. So we have to understand that the cycle of birth and death, travel to different lokas, and rebirth is not going to stop unless one gets the self-knowledge or the self-realization. Thus, Sri Krishna says, Arjuna, in this very life itself, you can put an end to this rebirth and travel by attaining me, who is beyond time and space. We have to understand what he means by attaining me, what Krishna means by attaining me or reaching me. Everyone knows Shri Krishna is the avatara and he is the son of Devaki, Vasudeva. But here, what Krishna means by reaching me is we have to understand that we have to know the real nature or the intrinsic nature of Krishna. That is the Swarupa Jnana of Krishna, which is Satchit Ananda. Thus, Krishna is telling very clearly all lokas, which are the results of rituals and upasanas, are just temporary. So everything is ephemeral and will not put an end to cycle of birth and death. Only by attaining me, that is only by knowing the real nature of the Swarupa Jnana of Krishna, which is Satchit Ananda or Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, one gets liberated, one gets liberation, that is moksha, and he will never have a rebirth. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Vani. Direct and a complete explanation of this verse. Dr. Sanjay, it is your time.
Thank you, Dr. Hegde, and salutations to you as well as to other friends. My verse is 17. Am I audible to everybody?
Yes, a little soft, but
I'll bring my phone closer to my mouth. So I'll read the verse. Sahasra yuga pariyantam arhayat brahmanoh viduh ratrim yuga sahasranta teha horatra vido jana. This is a bit of an out of place verse where I will first read the meaning of this verse and then go word by word meaning, and then I also give you the context of this verse. The meaning is those people who are conversant with the day and night know the day of Brahma to be lasting up to 1000 Chatur Yugas and the night to be lasting up to another 1000 Chatur Yugas. If you just read the verse, it's very difficult to understand. So I have to provide you the understanding about what is a Chatur Yuga. Teha Jana, those people, Aho Ratravida, those who are conversant. Vid means to know, conversant with day and night. Yad Aha, the day, Brahmana, of Brahma. Now it is not Brahman, or it is Brahmaji. Brahmaji, who is a finite individual, who is the creator of the universe. The job of creating the universe was given by Vishnu to Brahmaji. Sahasra Yuga Paryantam, to be lasting up to 1000 Chatur Yugas. Ratrim, and the night. Yug Sahasrantam, to be lasting up to another 1000 Chatur Yugas. Now, so this verse is giving some details about our ancient knowledge about the time scale and the nature of our universe. It also would tell you in the following verse something about the manifest universe and the unmanifested universe. Brahma's one day is called as one kalpa and one night is another kalpa. When the universe is manifest, it is one day time, and when the pralayam comes, it is the night for the Brahma, which is the unmanifested universe. So when the universe becomes, or the Shrishti happens, this is the day for Brahma, and when the pralayam happens, that's the night for Brahma. So what is the Chatur Yuga? One day of Brahmaji life is 2000 Chatur Yugas. Daytime is equal to 1000 Chatur Yugas. Now, we know that we have 4 yugas, the Krita Yuga, the Treta, the Dwapar, and the current one, Kali Yuga. If you remember, Treta where Rama was born and Dwapar was Krishna was born. Now, each yuga, which is Kali Yuga, has 432,000 years. The duration of Dwapar is 2 times Kali Yuga. The duration of Treta is 3 times Treta Yuga, Kali Yuga, and the Krita Yuga is 4 times Kali Yuga. So basic unit is a Kali Yuga. Now, if you take 1 Kali Yuga, 2 Dwapar Kali Yuga, 3 Kali Yuga for Treta, and 4 for Krita, the addition will make something like 43 lakh years. And that is 1 Chatur Yuga. So Brahmaji's 1 day, which is the manifest universe, has got 2000 times this 43 lakhs. So Brahmaji life is taken as 100 years, and the current universe is in the 50th year, and the first day of that is the current universe. So 1000 Chatur Yuga is the duration of 1 day, and the same 1000 Chatur Yuga is the duration of 1 night. The context of time is created with the birth of universe, and the time ends when the universe ends. The concept of Srishti, Laya, Sthiti, and Pralaya is described in the following verse in relation to human day and night and Brahma's day and night. Now, it is very interesting that how our ancient Indian saints came to know about this, because it is commensurate with the scientific understanding of beginning of the universe from particles to creation of atoms and elements, and ultimately the manifest material world and dissolution of the same, which is the pralayam. So in this verse, it is described that those who know, those people who are conversant with the day and night, know the day of Brahma to be lasting up to 1000 Chaturyugas and the night to be lasting up to another 1000 Chaturyugas. So it is actually kind of a information which is being given in this verse about what is a Brahma's day, how is this universe manifest, what happens in the manifest universe, and I think the following verses will tell you about that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sanjay, to try to help us to understand the day and night of Brahmaji. Mamta, it is your time.
Yes, yes, sir. I'm audible, sir.
Very clear.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Chanting the verse, Avyaktad Vyaktaya Sarvaha Prabhavantyah Ragame Ratriagame Praliyante Tatraiva Vyakta Samjnake. The literal meaning of the verse is, on the arrival of the day of Brahma, all manifest beings emerge from the unmanifest, and on the arrival of the night of Brahma, they merge into that itself, called the unmanifest. Now, in this shloka, Sri Krishna explains the process of creation of the universe. Krishna relates the creation to Brahmaji's day and night in this verse. To understand it better, Swami Param has a beautiful analogy to individual's day and night. When the individual wakes up, the private world of the individual also wakes up to interactions, activities, knowledge, emotions, so on. In other words, Desha, Kala, Vastu arise. When the individual goes to sleep, his private world of Dvaitam, or in other words, the world of plurality and space, time, emotions are all resolved. The sleeping state of each individual is at micro level and it is called Layaha. But when Brahmaji sleeps, it happens at macro and it is called Pralayaha. Just like when an individual sleeps, individual's private world is not destroyed. It only goes to dormant condition and comes back when the person wakes up. Similarly, during Brahmaji's sleep, the whole creation resolves to a state of unmanifest condition. This is what is meant by part of the verse, Ratriagame Sarvaha Vyaktaya Praliyante Avyakta Samjnake. If we take a look at the scientific world also, matter cannot be destroyed. It can only be converted to energy, that is from visible to invisible condition. For example, when we boil the water, water vapor remains in the atmosphere in the invisible vapor form. Similarly, the whole concrete visible universe at the time of Pralayam, which equates to Brahmaji's sleep, gets converted into unmanifest matter, which scientifically we refer it to as energy, the invisible one. But in Vedanta, it is termed as Prakriti or Maya or Avyaktam. In the section of the verse, Aharagame Avyaktad Sarvaha Vyaktaya Prabhavanti, Krishna goes on to explain the waking up of Brahmaji. When Brahmaji wakes up, the invisible energy, which is the unmanifested matter, is converted back into visible matter, which is the universe. Hence, the non-dual is again converted to duality, and again the activity begins, and time, space, objects, transactions, all are born. So, out of the manifest, again they become manifest to, out of the unmanifest, again they become manifest to visible universe. Thus, the whole world goes on in a cyclic form of eternal manifestation and unmanifestation. Swami Param emphasizes on the word avyaktam in this verse. He points to the verse 28 in the chapter 2. Here, reference to this word is made on a similar note where Krishna says, universe is never created, but from unmanifest condition, all things manifest to the waking state. According to Vedanta, creation is eternal. Creation word should not be used. The word is eternally there. Nobody, including God, can create it, as it is against the fundamental law of conservation of energy and matter. Then, how are we to understand this so-called creation? Swami Param says the word creation must be replaced by the word manifestation. The world was there, it was there in potential form, the invisible form. In summation, creation is an eternal manifestation unmanifestation process whose beginning or end can never be talked about. If you call manifest as the beginning, you can choose to call unmanifestation as the end, but the end is not the end of the universe. Thank you.
Thank you, Mamta, for a clear explanation for an important verse. Both you and Dr. Sanjay were able to give all of us look from a scientific angle and how whatever the Gita says is in accordance with science also. Dr. Padma, it is yours.
Thank you, sir. Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Am I audible?
Very clear.
Thank you. I will begin with chanting the verse. Bhuta gramaha sa evayam bhutva bhutva praliyate. Ratri agame avashaha partha prabhavati aharagame. Let us look at the Shabdartha. Ratri agame, on the arrival of the night of Brahma, sa eva ayam bhuta grama, that very same multitude of beings, praliyate, merges. Bhutva bhutva, having emerged again and again. Aharagame, on the arrival of the day. Prabhavati, they emerge again or they remanifest. Avashaha, helplessly. Partha, O Arjuna. On the arrival of the night of Brahma, that very same multitude of beings merge, having emerged again and again. On the arrival of the day of Brahma, they emerge again, helplessly, O Arjuna. After the 18th verse, in the 19th verse, we see that two new points are being made, Bhutva Bhutva and Avashaha. So let us look at this verse and the meanings that are touched upon here. So we know, thanks to Dr. Sanjay Mehrotra, that with Brahma's night, that is after 1000 Chaturyugas, the universe goes to unmanifest condition, and that all the jivas, like Mamata told us, will remain inactive or in their potential forms. After another 1000 Chaturyugas, again the jivas will emerge with their own karma, their punya and papa intact. To help us understand the state of pralaya when the manifest things become unmanifest, Swami Param asks us to reflect on what happens every night when we go to sleep. What happens to our individuality, our ego, knowledge, ignorance, happiness, unhappiness? All of them are in resolved condition. They remain dormant, but they are not destroyed. Let's look at two sleeping individuals. Let's call them a doctor and a dacoit. They may look alive. After all, they are a mass of flesh and bones. They're warm, they're breathing. But when they wake up, their knowledge, their ideas, and their vasanas become manifest. These are not destroyed by the night or by the start of a new day. In the same way, During Pralaya, all the Jiva Rashis go to potential condition and again come back in the next Srishti. No new Jiva is created. For like Mamata reminded us, there is no creation, only manifestation. The same multitude of Jivas manifest and unmanifest again and again. Bhutva Bhutva. The process is eternal and is repeated again and again and again. Now, we may wonder how to reconcile this idea that the same multitude of jivas become manifest and unmanifest when we consider the growing population of our world. Swamiji reminds us that the word jiva refers to all living things, human beings, animals, birds, insects. The total number of jivas will therefore always be the same. It is only the distribution of jivas which varies. We could be born a human, an animal, or an insect, depending on our purva karma. Swami Chinmayananda therefore says about this that man becomes enslaved by his thoughts and emotions, for an individual is nothing but a bundle of thought impressions. The second line of this verse contains the word avashaha, meaning helplessly, as in, on the arrival of the day of Brahma, the jivas emerge again helplessly, O Arjuna. Why helplessly? That is because we cannot disinherit ourselves from our past lives or our past actions. The punya and papa that we have accumulated has to be lived out. Mortality cannot be escaped as long as we choose a time-bound result. Krishna says that all beings will remain in this eternal cycle of birth and rebirth, also known as the wheel of samsara, and we will helplessly emerge again and again unless we follow Krishna's advice on how to attain Jivan Mukti, which the next verse will talk about. Thank you. Hari Om.
Thank you, Dr. Padma, for giving us a clear explanation of what the Gita has to say about the sleep and wake cycle. Lakshmi, it is your time.
Thank you, Doctor. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Am I audible?
Clear.
Yes.
Yes. Parastasmat bhavah anyah avyakto avyaktat sanatanaha. Ya sa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. The meaning of the word paraha higher, tasmat than that, to but, bhavaha existence, anyaha another, avyaktat unmanifested, avyaktaha unmanifested, avyaktat than the unmanifested, sanatanaha eternal, yaha who, sa that, sarveshu in all, bhuteshu in beings, nashyatsu in being destroyed, naha not, vinashyati is destroyed. The meaning of this is that destroyed this unmanifested, there is yet another unmanifested eternal existence which does not perish even when all existence perish. In this verse, Krishna talks about the manifest and the unmanifest matter which comes under time and space. He says that beyond this matter, there is something else which is a third entity, that is consciousness principle. This consciousness principle, which is the witness of manifest and unmanifest condition of matter, does not fall within the witness field, because the observer is different from and beyond the observed. We can understand this from our daily experience of three states. In the waking and dream state, there is world, time, and space. In the deep sleep state, the whole material world is resolved. Time and space go to the unmanifest condition, resulting in total blankness. Even in this state, I am aware that condition when I wake up. I experience that I slept well, which proves that I, the consciousness, was there in all three states. This observer of matter, this observer of the change is the changeless consciousness principle, which is beyond time and space. Therefore, Anyaha Avyaktaha, this conscious principle. And what is its nature? Sanatanaha. It is eternal and is called immortal, and therefore it is timeless. Yaha sa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. Even when all beings perish, Anyaha Avyaktaha, this consciousness is indestructible. Here, the first Avyakta is of Prakriti. The Sukshma Sharira of Brahma is matter, that is Jada, it is destructible. But the second Avyakta is consciousness, that is Chetana, is not perishable. The second Avyakta is the eternal Lord of all, even at the time of cosmic Pralaya, when all things and beings go to the Sukshma Sharira of Brahma, the divine consciousness is not destroyed. Thank you, Doctor. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you. Thank you, Lakshmi. It talks about the existence of something even when everything goes into unmanifest or the all-pervading Brahman. Sudha, it is your time. Sudha Vani.
Hari Om, Doctor. Nita,
Very
can you play? Is it okay, Doctor?
Very clear.
Is it clear? Nita, shall I speak?
Very clear. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we had just discussed that in case she would not be, I would just play her thing. That's fine.
Go ahead.
Sudha, go ahead and say a word.
Oh, okay. Is that so? Okay, I thought you'll be playing. Okay, Hari Om, Doctor. Hari Om. Here in this shloka, Krishna is talking about God as the limitless and real goal, which is avyakta, the consciousness principle mentioned in the earlier shloka. So here he also using the word akshara, as the name of the chapter goes, Akshara Parabrahma Yoga, and we will also be seeing this akshara is nothing but another name, how Brahman is addressed and the meaning of that. We'll just look into the shloka. Avyaktoksara ityukta samaho paramangatim yem prapya na nivartante tattama paramam mama. The simple meaning goes like this. The manifest being is said to be imperishable one, and the scriptures declare that being to be the supreme goal, that is, the supreme abode of mind, attain which they do not return. So here this consciousness principle is also known in the scriptures as Aksharaha. Literally means imperishable, but it does not mean it remains in time permanently. It means it is timeless. It cannot be defined in terms of time. Aksharaha ityuktaha. The definition of this Akshara, which is nicely given in Mundakopanishad as such. Yet tadadreshya magrahya magotra mavarna machakshuhu srotram tadapani padam nityam vibhum sarvagatam susukshmam tadavyayam yad bhutayonim paripashyanti dhiraha. That which is invisible, ungraspable, unoriginated and attributeless, that which has neither eyes nor ears nor hands nor legs, that is eternal, full of manifestations, all pervading, subtlest of the subtle, that imperishable being which the wise perceived as the source of all creation, that is Aksharam, and which is colorless, formless, tasteless, touchless, etc. And Arjuna, tam paramam gatim ahuhu. Accomplishing such Brahman is the real goal. Only then you go beyond time and space. Any located place you go is within time and place, be it Vaikunta, Kailasha or Brahmaloka. It cannot be called liberation. Liberation is going to Brahman, yam prapya nivartante, reaching which one does not return. Again, one should not be misled with these words, reaching and going. Here, travel is not involved. It's only through wisdom that Brahman has never been away from me and will never be away from me. Brahman is that conscious principle, that consciousness principle, which happens to be I myself. So you reach Brahman in the form of claiming Brahman as myself. Through knowledge, you do not reach Brahman. It's only through will you reach Brahman. So through this knowledge, you drop the notion that Brahman is away. So emphasizing on this, Krishna says, Taddama Paramam Mama. That consciousness alone is my supreme nature. That is my abode, my Swarupam, that is my Para Prakriti, beyond time and space. And it's not Rama, Krishna, etc., which are my Apara Prakriti. So that should be our highest goal. If not, again, we'll be coming back and falling in the cycle of birth and death. That is Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Jatare, Janani Sayanam, Ihasamsare, Bahudustare, Krupaya Pare, Pahimurare. Hari Om. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Sudha. This time the audio came out very clearly and your explanation is also very clear. This is a very similar, those who have studied the rest of the Bhagwad Gita will know exactly the same thing he will say in the 15th chapter. There he talks about the Kshara Purusha, Akshara Purusha, and then he suddenly remembers one more. He calls this the Uttama Purusha. What he's talking in this verse about is the Uttama Purusha of the 15th chapter. We come to the last verse for today. Anita, it's your time.
Hari Om, Doctor.
Hari Om, go ahead.
Purushaha sa paraha partha bhaktaya labhyasya anyaya yasya ashtani bhutani yena sarvamidam tat. So I will go for the meaning of the verse. O Arjuna, indeed that Supreme Lord can be attained by undivided devotion. All beings are in him and all this is pervaded by him. So in this verse, Krishna again continues to talk about the nature of Brahman, which is beyond time and space. Here, the consciousness principle is referred as Saha Paraha Purushaha, the Supreme Brahman. Swamiji gives us two meanings of the word Purushaha in the verse, in the 8th chapter of the 8th verse, as the one who resides in the heart of everyone, and the second meaning is the one who fills up the whole world. All beings, the whole creation, rest in Brahman alone. This is the second line of the verse. Yasyasya antaha sthani bhutani. The self is there in all periods of time. It means it's always be and ever be there. Bhutani can be compared to Vishwadharana Ganga Sadrishnam, space like God. If we are not able to visualize God as space, then we opt for the Megha Varna Shubhangam, the lower form. The beauty of all prayers is that it gives both the lower form as well as the higher form, and we can choose according to our level. Here, both the Saguna and Nirguna aspects rest in him alone. The next line, Ena sarvamidam tatam. All the creation is pervaded in and through by his consciousness of Brahman. Consciousness is the nature of absolute knowledge. Knowledge of the world is gained as thoughts of the mind. Without thoughts, there is no knowledge of any object. Example, the phone, the table. I am trying to understand are all thoughts. Consciousness self-illuminates the presence and also the absence of thoughts. The auspicious Supreme Lord, real nature is perennial, supreme consciousness or Chit that transcends the universe yet remains identical with the universe and serves as the basis of this universe. Krishna says, Anyani Bhaktya Labhyaha. By such undivided devotion of Nishkama Bhakta, we can attain the Nirguna Brahman, the Supreme Brahman. We should understand that alone is the ultimate goal and all else falls within the second and space. Such of those who have sincerely opted for this timeless Brahman is called a Nishkama Bhakta or a Mumukshu. As a Saguna Bhakta, we continue with sincere desire. Sooner or later, we will get qualifications required for the Nirguna Bhakta. Therefore, he says, Anyaya Bhaktya, Nishkama Bhaktya, Sa Purusha Labhya. That Brahman is attainable. So with this, Krishna completes the comparative study of God as a higher goal and world as the lower goal. As an intelligent person would opt for God and not for the world. If you vote for God, you become a Nishkama Upasaka. Having concluded the topic of liberation, Krishna begins the last topic of this chapter in the next shloka. He describes the two paths that seekers must travel through after they pass away. In this verse, Krishna summarizes the meaning of our liberation as well as the attributes of the goal, which is Ishvara, and that only. Single pointed devotion to Ishvara, we can aspire for liberation to rise above that endless, sorry go round cycle. Our effort should include Karma Yoga, as if the Karma Yoga aspect is missing, our vasanas or the latent desires will remain unfulfilled, pulling us back into the cycle of rebirth so that they will be fulfilled. I would end this quote with a Sadhguru's quote: "What are you calling as life? Right now is like a soap bubble being blown. The entire yogic process or the entire spiritual process is to wear a thin bubble so that one day it bursts. There's absolutely nothing left and moves from the bondage of existence to the freedom of non-existence or nirvana." Hari Om. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Anita, for a nice explanation. And thanks to all the speakers for your efforts to make a very clear presentation of these important verses of the 8th chapter. For the next 5 minutes, we will continue to look into ourselves as students of Vedanta who have been studying the Gita, the Upanishads for some time, and still addressing that fear that, am I ready to die? And we address that the ego in me is not ready to die, and therefore we need to work on the ego. The second thing is, I feel I have not lived well. I have not lived my life. There is still so much to do. There is really no answer other than the skill of being able to live my life 100% in a deep state of acceptance. I accept this moment as a gift, and I live 100% in this moment with all my senses, not in the past or the future. And if I can maintain this form of an exercise, which comes through various forms of upasana and mind training, and also as a Parama Bhakta, where I fully trust that God knows what is best for me. I come to one more aspect about all of us, that I'm prepared to die, I'm ready to die, but I know that I have people who are dependent on me, that I need to live for others, and so much of my time is spent on taking care of people who are still dependent on me. So therefore, I need some more time. We've been through this pandemic where all of us very, very busy people who would leave home very early in the morning, come late in the night, and then found ourselves sitting at home for a long time, really doing nothing what we used to do, and still the world went on very happily. So how important is our real world, our real work that we contribute to the world? There was one person who, this is a story which Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said. There was one Bhakta whom he saw a lot of promise in him, and he wanted him to commit himself more to religion and spirituality. But the person said, Maharaj, I have no time because I've got small children and a wife and small children, and they require me. And every time years passed, but this man still had the same excuse. So one day, he was a very staunch Bhakta. He would fully agree to whatever Paramahamsa said. So he said, okay, please do this little test for me. He gives him something to take, and he says, you have this after breakfast. He took whatever Ramakrishna Paramahamsa gave him, and he went into a deep state of sleep. All the family members thought he was dead. And the message comes to Ramakrishna that one of his devotees has passed away. He goes to see him, and he sees his medicine is working. There is some faint breathing going on. He knows he's still alive. And then he tells the family, see, I have some powers to bring him back to life, but there is one condition. One of you in the family has to take his place. So the family, the wife and the children got into a huddle to decide who among them all is the best who can take. Of course, the wife is important because she has to take care of the 4 other children. And each of the 4 of them are still so young, they still have so much to do. And then they came to a unanimous decision that at this moment, that fellow who's lying down there, is the best person to let go. And he was listening to it all along. And this is exactly what happens. Our families will need us. They will miss us. But over a period of time, they will continue to do very well without us also. Now, I have a very painful message for all of you. And I know this should be taken in the right sense. All of us have one more Purushartha to be completed. And this is the Parama Purushartha. The Parama Purushartha demands a certain amount of time. And therefore, if I'm not able to give enough time, I would say it is okay to be selfish. The greatest gift that you can give your whole family members is that you work on your own Purnatvam. And this is what Swamiji says again and again, that over a period of time, especially those who are a little older and who have finished a certain amount of responsibilities, we need to consciously work on reducing our possessions, our obligations, our relations and interactions with people, and the transactions that we have to do. Unless we do that, we will get into as Bhagwan Ramana says, Kriti Mahodado Patanakaranam Palamasashvatam Gati Nirodhakam. Finally, I would like to say that what are we doing all this for? Through Shravanam, through Mananam, over a period of time, the message of the Gita becomes more meaningful. And then one day, the verses like this, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogata atman evatmana tushtaha. My whole purpose is to be able to understand that I'm so full of the presence of Atma within me. And in that understanding, I would have lived a full life. And then, of course, Yamadharma Raja has no more business with such a person. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhagvadet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much.